Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela and we are the Castros.
Welcome to another episode of Brunch. It's Tuesday morning.
That's right.
Medyo maganda-ganda ang weather. Better than yesterday. Yesterday, grabe yung ulan eh.
Yeah.
Oo.
Hanggang gabi.
Hanggang gabi. Okay lang.
Wait lang. Okay
Kaya
na.
pa.
Okay
Kaya
na.
pa.
Hanggang gabi yung
Oo.
ulan.
Pero ang daming balita pa rin. Continuing pa lang yung mga stories na nagsimula ng weekend up to possibly this whole next 2 weeks pa. Tuloy-tuloy yung mga kwento natin. So,
Nag-uusapan na kahapon yung press con.
Yes, oo.
DND,
Correct.
DFA Secretary, Teodoro Gibo.
Gilbert Teodoro.
Gilbert Teodoro.
Department of the National Defense.
Pagbawi doon sa sinasabi na hindi nila, kumbaga, ay sinasabi nila, hindi nila dina-downplay yung nangyari nung incident ng June 7. Pero marami pa tayong pag-uusapan, no?
Yes.
Abangan natin, ano bang number yun dapat?
Okay.
Yung issue na yun, di ba?
Malaman natin because we're serving you news in a countdown.
All that before your second cup of coffee, this is Brunch.
Starting our countdown with Gilas Pilipinas, our team is off to a good start after defeating Taiwan Mustangs in their send-off friendly match yesterday. Dwight Ramos and Justin Brownlee established Gilas' dominance in the third quarter. And despite of Taiwan's effort to regain their momentum, it was no match for Gilas' energy in the fourth quarter. The final score was 74-64. Gilas is flying to Europe to prepare for the FIBA Olympic qualifying tournament. They are hoping to end our 52-year absence in the Olympics.
Talagang natuwa sila kasi ang tawag dito si Dwight Ramos daw talaga yung
Sa game na yon.
sa game na yun
Pero friendly, that was just a friendly match with
pero
Taiwan.
natuwa sila kasi nga siya yung nagkaroon ng 19 points,
Yeah.
siya yung parang best player of the game. Nagpakita talaga siya ng gilas.
Nagpikita sige. Pero iba usapan sa Europe, matitindi ang European teams
Oo,
dyan.
yun ang abangan
Saka yung qualifying
natin.
window natin, I think in grouping
Sa
natin,
Latvia, no? Tama.
we're bunched up with a strong teams na mahihirapan tayo. So dapat yung sa preparations natin, I think they're aiming to at least have mga 2-3 scrimmage against powerhouse European teams para masanay tayo sa tangkad.
Totoo.
Playing against them.
Abangan natin yan.
Abangan natin yan. Pero next. Sports pa rin tayo. Filipino athletes have begun their training in Metz, France ahead of the Olympics. The first batch of Olympic qualifiers who arrived in France include boxers Ira Villegas, Hergy Bacyadan, Carlo Paalam, and Nesty Petesio.
During the Tokyo Olympics, meron naman training venues provided, but we just prefer to stay inside the village, and then we just found the basement space, and then dun lang ginagawa yung mga sprints.
Filipino weightlifters Vanessa Sarno, Elrin Ando, and John Senisa are now also undergoing training in France. Chef de mission Jean-Voc Remulla says they will ensure that Filipino athletes are prepared to compete.
And making sure that all the athletes are in proper condition and proper shape, that they are properly billeted. All credit goes to the POCC chairman, Mambal Tolentino.
Yun. Nako, makikita na mapanood nila yun dito sa Signal TV actually, 'di ba? Yung village athlete, tama ba 'yun, 'di ba? Doon makikita nila
Athletes Village.
Athletes Village rather. Doon nila makikita na nag-eensayo yung mga atleta natin. Makikita nila yan dito sa Signal TV dahil nga tayo ang official partner.
Para makita, hindi lang kasi karamihan na sanay tayo.
Dati hindi.
No, sanay lang tayo, we're watching them compete, pero we don't know kung ano yung preparation sa ginagawa nila.
Behind the scenes.
Oh, how difficult and how dedicated they are behind the scenes. Getting to where, kung ano yung napapanood mo sa TV,
Exactly.
di ba? They may fall short at times, pero at least nakikita mo, they work hard at it. Oh, pero
somehow, by doing that kasi, by watching them on how they prepare for the competition, somehow, parang feeling mo, kasama ka na rin dun sa journey na yun eh. 'Di ba? Nasusubaybayan mo sila and talagang pwede mo silang ipagdasal na sana nga dun sa kanilang competition ay manalo sila.
Maliit man lang ang contingent natin, pero at least alam mong medyong dedicated sila at talagang piling-pili ang sasabak sa Olympics, di ba? Lean but mean. Yan ang term
Abangan
sa...
natin yan. Alright, let's continue with our countdown. Next in our countdown, BDO says withdrawals made under the account of Glenn Cañete were found to be valid. In a statement, the bank says Cañete advised the BDO that they will resolve matters within their family. He went viral online after saying that some 345,000 pesos was taken from his account. Cañete already deleted the video after the bank's clarification. Yun.
Naka,
I remember
mag-uusap daw
this-
sila?
I
Mag-usap daw
remember
silang
this
family?
Oo, nag-viral tong
So, somebody
itong
from-
video na to. Umiiyak siya. No, context lang dun sa ating mga viewers. Umiiyak itong si Mr. Glenn Cañete.
Cañete.
At hawak-hawak niya yung kanyang
Passbook.
no? Umiiyak
Kasi wala
siya
daw siyang online
wala
account.
daw siyang online account, pero withdrawals were already made na 345,000 na supposedly pang tuition yun ng kanyang anak. So a lot of, alam mo na, people, yung netizen, nire-share
Galit sa
yun,
BDO.
nagalit sila sa BDO na sana higpitan yung security, etc. And then finally, BDO reached out to Mr. Glenn. And nakita nga nila, ito, yung balita natin, that all the withdrawals were valid. It was, I think, withdrawn by some members of the family. We don't know. Kasi dinelete na rin niya yung video niya. At hindi naman siya
Mag-uusap-usap
nagbigay
sila.
ng other details about it. Pero most probably, within the family yung withdrawal, na alam yung password, diba?
Or hindi natin alam yung full context if it was a joint end or account. Kasi pag end or account yan, pwedeng may second signatory dyan.
Kawawa naman. Siguro inipon niya kaya ang laki yung ang sakit nung iyak niya dun
Hindi,
sa
the person who must have withdrawn it, either it's part of that account na signature appears also on the account passbook. Kasi
Yes.
kung hindi tatanggapin ng BDO.
Exactly.
Or si sir meron ng pre-signed na na slips, na withdrawal slips, or pinorge yung signature niya.
Yun ang hindi natin
From family
alam.
member who has access also to the account number and details. Oo. So, better na lang mag-usap sila. Yun lang akin kasi sana hindi na kaagad muna linabas sa social media until clarify mo within your circle ano ba talaga nangyari. Because if you bring it out sa social media, you're opening a hornet's nest. Diba? Ang dami mong ini-involve na tao. Ngayon, he took it down. Siguro na-realize niya, teka lang, baka somebody in my family.
Yun na nga.
Mag-uusap-usap.
Kasi
Pero
nga,
malaking
valid
amount
na
yan,
to,
ha? Hindi biro yung account na yan.
145,000.
Pinaghihirapan ni sir yung pera
Siguro
na
kasi
yan.
ito si Sir, I don't know ito isip ko lang, walang alam din sa online, etc. So
Oo,
alam lang niya,
old school.
passbook lang to, sino pwedeng mag-withdraw?
Unless meron...
Diba? Kaya inano niya, naghihingi siya ng tulong sa online, 'di ba? In his defense, baka sakaling matugunan ng BDO right away, which is what BDO did.
Unless somebody sa family niya nag-open ng online account, di niya alam, di ba? Nag-transfer.
Most probably,
Anyway,
ganun.
at least they're gonna resolve it within themselves.
Yes.
Sana naman hindi na ubos yung pera. Sana na ilipat lang somewhere else para may pang-tuition pa rin si Sir. Si Sir Glenn, no? Glenn, si Sir Glenn. Pinaghirapan niya yan. Hay, nako. Anyway.
Alright, let's continue with our countdown.
On our 8th spot in our countdown is the anticipated rematch in U.S. politics. U.S. President Joe Biden and Donald Trump are preparing for their face-off on Friday's televised presidential debate. Biden will head to Camp David near Washington to sharpen his attack lines and rebuttals. Meanwhile, Trump is downplaying the need for a formal dress rehearsal for the debate. CNN will host a debate between the Democrat and Republican candidates. Biden is seeking a re-election to continue his agenda, while Trump is determined to redeem himself after losing the 2020 elections.
Naku, that's going to be on Friday here in Manila
Yeah.
Yang inaabangan na, it's going to be first time, 'di ba, na dalawang naging presidente ang magdedebate para sa next election.
Actually, I don't know kung one-on-one sila or Republicans, several candidates from Republican and Democratic side.
Hindi.
Oh.
One-on-one.
Okay, kasi usually several candidates. Kung one-on-one kasi, for context kasi,
Ay, ako lang, oo.
si President Donald Trump, diba, he won because he got the Middle America vote, which is yung bring back America to the Americans. Diba? Hindi masyadong friendly sa immigration yung policies ni Trump. And then we have President Joe Biden who came in and defeated Trump sa election. Pero ang nagiging problem kasi ni Joe Biden ngayon, they're seeing is if he's fit, his mental state niya, if he's mentally fit.
Because he's already old.
Yeah, and then he has several clips that came out in from several news agencies na incoherent
Di ba
siya. And is mumbling during speeches. Minsan may kinakausap siya sa tabi niya na wala naman.
Minsan naka-freeze lang siya for
Naka-freeze.
several
Oo.
seconds, di ba?
And this is caught on video. So parang mga tao are really worried na ito ba ang front-runner nyo sa Democrats, di ba? Malaking bagay din dito yung mga lobbyists kung sino susuporta. Like yung Rifle Association of America, di ba? Yung mga NRA, kung sino yung susuportahan nila. But Trump ngayon is seeing a surge in numbers even among the African-American communities, which is, sabi ng ibang tao, medyo weird dahil malaki ang support niya despite of him supposedly being racist, yung African-American males nag-increase ang support for him. Parang gusto ibalik sa style of governance niya na hindi...
Yung kay Trump.
Yung style of governance ni Trump na yung gung-ho businessman approach, matapang.
Kaya nga ang sinasabi daw ng Biden side would be, it's going to be a fine line to walk because they still want to address people na si President Joe Biden pa rin ang adult in the room. Yun ang sinasabi nila. So,
But you have to remember, this is another 4 years, di ba? So ang banat na Republican ngayon pa lang ganyan na si President Joe Biden, di ba? Medyong baka mentally weak. Can he withstand another 4 years? That's what Joe Biden has to do, President Biden, to win back voters, to show them that policies niya kasi medyo maganda naman yung policies niya.
Democratic.
Yeah, pero ang problem niya nga is yung tinatanong nila yung mental state. Can he be fit for the next 4 years? Especially ngayon, ang daming pressing issues outside of America. You have the...
you have, of course, the West Philippines issue.
No, I mean, other bigger issues.
Ukraine.
You have the Ukraine war, you have the Israel-Palestine conflict that he has to help resolve also.
Yan ang abangan nila na magiging debate sa Friday.
Interesting. Kasi Trump is similar to former President Rodrigo Duterte, di ba? Medyong animated.
Tapos may mga kaso pa siya Pero di ba nakausap nga natin yung isang lawyer, di ba? Dating former president ng IDP and saying that his case probably would not affect, di ba? His candidacy.
Actually, before we go, his numbers, the moment he was pronounced guilty, yung numbers niya, hours after that, nag-surge. Tumaas yung...
That was of course, the camp of Biden, sinasabi nila. But the other side of the
even Democrats have said that they've never seen a record amount of money come into their campaign from anonymous donors after...
To support his
him. Siguro kasi, although siyempre meron din na happy, pero meron din yung mga nag-support sa kanya. Alam mo naman, the human nature is kung sino yung nadidihado, sino yung underdog, there's a rallying effect. So yun ang nangyari sa kanya, di ba?
Tignan natin.
No, I'm just saying the figures mismo. And these numbers came from CNN themselves. So if it's from CNN who is,
alam mo naman anti-Trump ang...
Yeah, so yun ang pinakita nilang numbers. That immediate effect, hindi natin alam yung long-term effect, but immediate effect, there was an upsurge in support for Trump, for Republicans.
All right, let's see. Coming up, should we now expect lower rice prices following the tariff reduction on imported rice?
And former Senator Laila de Lima is finally free from all of her drug charges. She also has a message to her nemesis, former President Rodrigo Duterte.
Ang paniningil. We are just getting started, mga kapatid. More of our top 10 news when Brunch returns. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching Brunch here on One News. Batiin mo muna yung mga usual natin.
Sino ba, Angel? Batiin
we have Sam Pokemon Go. We have
Gary
Alex
Field.
Fuentes, Gary Field, Ralph Domingo. Who else? Si Cecil Samaniego. Yan. Sino pa?
Si...
We have Gary Ko
si
sa YouTube and Anig Villa.
I have also si Vladimir, saka sila Hener. Good morning sa inyong lahat. I thank you for joining us on a Tuesday. siksik pa rin tayo sa balita.
Yes. Walaan nyo pa rin kung ano yung magiging number 1 natin. Ano ba yung pinaka-importanting balita for today?
Ano ba, si Found Teves or Finding Kibuloy?
Nandun pa rin ba sila?
Si Teves andun pa.
Umay na ako, joke lang. And then, let's continue na with our countdown. Now, coming at the 7th spot, the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, or BJMP, are urging lawmakers to increase the daily budget of food for persons deprived of liberty, or PDL. BJMP requested for at least an additional 100 pesos to the food budget allocated to each PDL. They said the current food budget of 70 pesos per prisoner is not enough for the rising price of items in the market. The last time the food budget was adjusted was back in 2016. In Makati City Jail, wardens said they have to reduce their meat meals and replace them with alternatives like vegetables.
Nag-a-adjust po kami doon. Pag nagmahal po ang bigas, siyempre, kailangan i-adjust yung mga ulam nila na kahit pa paano pagkasa natin yung 70 pesos.
Oo, since 2016
Yeah.
pa yan no? Oo, na hindi pa nataasan sa sobrang mahal daw ng bilihin ngayon.
Mahirap i-adjust kasi yung mga companies mahihirapan din. They'll be forced to cut yung mga number of employees nila just to augment yung cost na ma-incur nila if mag-increase. Then on the other side naman, kawawa naman yung
Mga PDL.
Oo.
Ang check nila dyan, di ba nagkakaroon ng mga corruption issues dyan yung pagdating sa mga nagbibigay ng pagkain,
Yeah, oo.
concessionaire. Pero pag-usapan natin sa isang araw pa, sa ibang mga araw, dahil ngayon meron tayong importante na iba pang pag-uusapan.
Coming in at top 6, the public may expect lower prices of rice by July following the reduction of tariff on imported rice. Here's the report.
Several days after the government announced rice tariff cut, prices of rice are expected to drop to as low as 40 pesos per kilo from 45 pesos currently. But this could be lower even further to 29 pesos in Kadiwa stores by August and in markets by next year.
We are anticipating that NIA can bring to the table literally 29 pesos, no? Kada kilo by August, no? So this is all within the near term, so to speak, no? So the effect will soon be felt. Hindi to plano, hindi to drawing na nangyari po.
Despite this, some agriculture groups continue to oppose the tariff cut on imported rice. Sinag, for one, says they were not consulted about the new policy. They also believe that this won't benefit local farmers as it will result in lower farm gate price.
Dahil po sa matinding pagkalugi na in-expect ng ating mga magpapalay, baka marami pong hindi na magtatanim muna. There is an estimate initially of maybe as much as kalahating milyong hektarya po ang apektado po dito.
But Romualdez explained that the government will continue to support our farmers.
Naintindihan natin yung mga concerns ng PRISM, ng SINAG, yung mga farmers group. But we also have to realize na yung concerns din ng over 100 million Filipinos na nangangailangan na talagang maayos na kalidad na bigas sa tama at abot kaya ang presyo na lahat.
The Agriculture Department also maintains that the new tariff policy is necessary.
Well, it's really not anti-farmer, no? But now kasi, sobrang taas talaga ng presyo ng bigas sa mundo eh. So we have to really do this para naman yung consumer naman matulungan at bumaba in general ang presyo ng bigas, for the moment.
Let's get more insights on that.
We have with us SINAG Executive Director Jason Cainglet live via Zoom. Magandang umaga, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning po sa lahat ng nanonood ng kanilang programa.
Alright, sir, let's get right to it po. No? Lower rice prices daw as early as July. Ano po ang comment nyo dito?
Unang-una po, we welcome all efforts na mapababa yung presyo ng bigas. Kaya lang, we wonder kung paano nila pababain ng presyo by July. Effectivity of the EO is only July 6. So kung darating ang mga imports, that's around middle of July pa to third week. Unless ang solusyon din po talaga ay mag-subsidize, then bababa po talaga ang presyo ng bigas without reducing tariffs. Kasi po kung nangangako yung mga importers na kausap ni Speaker Romualdez, ibig sabihin may hawak na silang bigas na kaya naman nila palang pababain ng presyo without cutting the tariffs to 15% po. So, we wonder kung paano nila pababain, but we welcome yung efforts nila kung totoo man na mapapababa na niya to 46, 47 level.
Pero on your group po sa SINAG, ano na po ang next step nyo para tutulan ng rice tariff cut? We heard on the news na meron pong mga magpa-file ng temporary restraining order on this EO. Would you be part of that group?
Opo, gaya po ng nabanggit namin, we would be filing hopefully end of this week kasi July 6 yung effectivity ng EO sa rice. We will file sa Supreme Court before the effectivity with a prayer for prohibition at sana maka-issue ang Supreme Court ng PRO on 2 grounds. Una, nilabag po mismo ng NEDA at Tariff Commission yung kanilang mga policies as far as yung proseso po sa pag-reduce ng tariff dahil wala pong ginawang consultation, wala pong ginawang hearings at basta-basta na lamang po nalaman natin kay Secretary Balisacan na ibababa nila yung presyo ng yung taripa sa bigas. Pangalawa, talaga pong sa ngayon pa lang, kung sinasabi nila walang epekto sa farmers, ngayon pa lang po ang farm gate bumagsak ng 17 pesos. Prior sa announcement po ng EO62, nasa 30 pesos per kilo po ang farm gate o yung presyo ng palay. Ngayon po, down to 17, 18. Sa ibang lugar, may 21, 22. Ibig sabihin po, malaki na po talaga ang binagsak sa side po ng mga producers. Yun po ang kinakatakot natin. We know the concern sa high rice prices. Ang sabi lang po sana natin, wag naman at the expense of the local producers. Kasi po, pag tinamad at mapagod ng ating mga farmers sa pagtatanim ng palay na wala namang kinikita, baka po next year wala tayong local production ng bigas. Yun po ang ating malaking pangamba sa panahon ngayon.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Angel.
Yeah, kasi yung EO po, Sir Jason, ay nakalagay until 2028 itong pag-reduce ng tariff nga from 35 to 15%. And subject naman daw po for review every 4 months. Your thoughts on that po?
Actually, yung sinasabing temporary, usually 1 year with the quarterly review. Ngayon po 5 years hanggang 2028. Ang tanong nga po natin, sumuko na ba ang NEDA at ang economic team na talagang hindi bababa ang presyo ng bigas, kaya hanggang 2028 nila gagawin itong executive order. I think, kaya nga po natin hinahabol to, Secretary Balisacan and the rest of the economic there are embarrassing the president kasi gusto nila hanggang 2028, ibig sabihin 5 years yung remaining duration ng Marcos presidency. Ibig po bang sabihin nila Secretary Balisacan, walang magagawa ang government kaya kailangan ibaba ang taripa. Take note po, hindi lang bigas to, pati baboy po, manok at mais. So, yung ating mga prime commodities, yung ating staple food, na siya rin ang pinuproduce ng malaking bahagi ng ating mga farmers, yun po talaga ang tatamaan ng Executive Order 62.
Yes, you also mentioned earlier na hindi po nakasama ang mga stakeholders dito sa pag-discuss nga nitong EO 62 na ito. If ever po, let's say for example, the doors are going to be open for you guys, ano po ba ang magandang suggestion ninyo instead na gawin nga po itong 15% na tariff cut?
Actually, days prior sa announcement ni Secretary Balisacan, kausap na po natin yung DA. Yung local millers and traders, they are willing to purchase palay sa 25. Kahit po ang mga farmers, kahit masakit sa loob nila na bababa, pumayag po sila sa 25 para yung bigas maibenta natin ng 40 to 45 pesos. As long as yung palay binibili sa ating farmers sa floor price na 25. Ibig sabihin po noon, kahit pa paano yung 25, meron na pong kita ang ating mga farmers. Number 2, hindi bababa yung RTL, yung collection ng taripa sa rice. We're expecting sana this year abot ng 43 billion pesos. Malaking tulong po sa farmers yun, kahit bumaba ng 25 yung farm gate, basta they get the 43 billion, cash yung 5,000, maganda po yung tulong sa farmers. At the same time, may assurance po ang ating mga consumers na makakabili sila ng well milled sa halagang 40 to 45 without kumbaga, maapektuhan yung farm gate ng palay and without subsidizing yung mga foreign farmers. Kung ang solusyon kasi ng gobyerno mag-subsidize, bakit hindi pa yung mga local farmers ang tulungan instead ng mga exporting countries and Vietnamese and Thai farmers na makikinabang sa mas malaking bibiling bigas. We're expecting only 3.6 million tons this year po sana sa imports. But because of the announcement, mismong USDA nagsabi, up to 4.8 million metric tons ang i-import, that would result to dislocation of about 500,000 rice farmers po. Malaki po yung 500,000. Saan po kukuha ng sustento ang ating mga rice farmers na madi-displace because of etong massive influx ng imports. Imagine 4.8, that's almost 30% po ng ating local consumption, local demand. Malaki po talaga epekto nito sa local producers. At the same time, hindi po talaga tayo naniniwala na masusustain yung 45 pesos, lalo na 29, as promised by government. Kasi yung importers will simply increase yung presyo ng bigas. Hindi naman po talaga nagbe-benefit ang ating mga consumers, unfortunately.
Oo. And ang nakita rin po natin dito sa mga pag-aaral, kung matutuloy nga po itong matutuloy nga po siya, no, kung hindi po masasubmit yung ating TRO, ay 500,000 farmers po yung maapektuhan. Until then, what else can we do? Ano pa pong tulong ang po pwedeng maibigay sa magsasaka pag yan pong EO na yan ay talagang maipatupad na at hindi po maipasa itong TRO?
Ang sinasabi po natin, yung guaranteed price na 25 so yung panay. Kasi po pag 17 ang bili lang ng millers, kasi nga po they are competing with imports.
Yes.
Almost cost of production lang po ng farmers yung 17-18. Kaya po, pag hindi po talaga nasolusyonan ito this year, next year po, we are sure almost half ng ating mga rice farmers hindi na magtatanim. Kasi ba't sila magtatanim ng palugi? Nagpapakapagod sila. Malulugi pa sila sa presyohan na 17-18. Kawawa po ang farmers and even the millers, sabi nila, tatamaan din sila because they are competing with imported rice na bababa ang taripa. They can only buy palay at 17-18. Kaya nga po, yung buong rice industry are literally up in arms dito po sa pahayag at sa pagpapatupad po ng Executive Order 62.
Taking this opportunity na rin po na tanungin kayo tungkol doon po sa issue naman po ng NFA, sinasabi po nila sila ay magbibigay ng mga stock po nila, no, aging rice na ibebenta po sa mga kadiwa stores. Your thoughts on that po?
Kasama po yun sa mga proposal natin sana. Bumili ang DA ng 25, ibenta sa 29 subsidization presyo or kahit 35. Wala po tayong problema kung ang mamimili ay NFA at they are procuring sa local farmers. Ang ayaw po natin talaga yung mag-import ka tapos isa-subsidize mo pa yung ating mga foreign farmers, hindi yung ating mga local farmers. Yun po talaga ang hindi natin naunawaan. Bakit yun ang gustong gawin ng ating government. Kung ibebenta yung aging stock sa 29, okay naman kung yan ay fit for consumption, why not po, malaking tulong sa ating mga kababayan. Kaya nga po yung sinasabi natin, maraming efforts to reduce rice prices. Bakit kailangan pa yung taripa ang kanilang pag-initan to the detriment po ng ating mga local farmers?
Alright, sige, maraming salamat po sa inyo, Sinag Executive Director Jason Cainglet. Thanks for joining
Maraming
us.
salamat po at magandang umaga sa kanilang lahat.
Yun, ang ating sinabi nga ni Jason Cainglet sa SINAG kasi kasama sila dyan sa magpa-file ng temporary restraining order dito sa EO 62 o Executive Order 62 na nagsasabi nga na reduced tariff, no, from 35 to 15% yung mga imported rice. And we would like to get the side naman din ng DA, 'di ba, dun sa kanila mga layunin na kasi sinabi nga ni House Speaker Martin Romualdez na hopefully bago pa magsona, mararamdaman na natin yung pagbaba daw ng bigas because of the implementation ng EO. Yun nga, sinasabi nitong mga farmers group na to, syempre sila ay tutol dito sa EO na ito dahil talaga, ilang beses natin pinag-uusapan to dahil farmers din talaga yung kawawa. And also, sinabi yan ni mismo si Senator Amy Marcos, ang kapatid ng Pangulo natin, ay tutol dito sa pagbaba ng itong tariff cut na gagawin nga ng BBM administration. Sinasabi niya, the only rice exporters lang daw makikinabang dito, not the Filipino consumers.
Yeah, there was a time, I think it was in the 80s or 70s, na I think it was Negros, I don't know, a part of the Philippines could supply the entire Southeast Asia with rice. Diba? Based on yung capacity natin to produce. Pero now, we're one of the top importers of rice in the world, diba? And what we have to take a look at is long-term stimulus for our farmers.
Local production talaga. Ako, I believe in that.
You have to look at the chain, yung production chain ng farmers. Saan ba ang parts na pwedeng tanggalin or eliminate or babaan ng cost para ma-maximize ang profit ng farmers. But
Can you imagine, dati tayo diba nagtuturo sa Vietnamese?
yeah,
Tanim ng palay.
ngayon sila ang medyo advanced.
Okay, true to our form that all sides, all the time po lagi ang ating adhikain dito sa ating programa. Let's get comments from the Agriculture Department.
We have with us DA Assistant Secretary Arnel de Mesa on the line. Magandang umaga, ASEC.
Magandang umaga, Angelo and Angela. Magandang umaga po sa lahat na nakikinig at nanonood.
Okay, ASEC, ano po comment nyo sa appeal for TRO na ipa-file down ng mga agri-group against the rice tariff cuts?
Yes po, kami naman po sa Department of Agriculture, again, ang focus po namin ay sa local production. Yan po yung mandato natin. At kahit meron pong ganito mga pangyayari, ay nakafocus po ang kagawaran para matulungan po yung ating mga magsasaka na mapataas po yung kanilang ani at mapataas din po yung kanilang income.
Kasi ang sinasabi nga po kanina dito ni Mr. Jason Kainglet po ng SINAG, kausap po natin siya earlier namin. Sinasabi po nila, based on local production, gusto po sana nila ang kikitain ng farmers is not 17 pesos but at least 25 pesos. Dahil ngayon daw po, since the declaration ng tariff cut na yan, ay bumaba na nga daw po to 17 pesos yung bilihan ng palay from local production.
Yan po ay mga posibleng maging epekto pag bumaba yung taripa. Kaya po kami ngayon sa kagawaran ay magiging patuloy po at palalakasin pa yung tulong sa ating mga magsasaka sa pamamagitan po ng pagmimigay natin ng mga angkop na interventions. Kabilang na po dyan yung mga high-yielding varieties natin, mga makinarya, inputs kagaya ng pataba at mga pestisidyo. Gano'n rin na po, libre naman yung ating patubig. And of course, yung mga pagsasanay sa ating mga magsasaka. Sa Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund naman po ay patuloy yung 10 billion na allocation para sa iba-ibang interventions din po. At sa National Food Authority naman, yung inaprobahan noong Abril sa NFA Council na pagbili sa mga palay sa ating mga magsasaka, pag tuyo po yan ay 23 to 30 pesos at pag basa naman po sa riwa ay between 19 to 23 pesos.
Can we ask for your comment dun po sa sinabi rin ni SINAG Executive Director Jason Kainglet na hindi raw po nagsagawa ng consultation para nga daw po dito sa new tariff policy. Can you answer that?
We cannot comment on that kasi nagsagawa po ng rekomendasyon sa NEDA board ay ang NEDA po mismo. At ang NEDA board po actually ay kinabibilangan ng ibang ahensya ng iba't ibang ahensya ng ating pamahalaan. So, kung meron po mga nagawa ng mga konsultasyon, ang mas maganda po makasagot niyan ay ang NEDA po mismo.
Exactly. Taking this opportunity na rin po, Sir, to ask you regarding po dun sa mga naapektuhan po ng El Nino nung nakaraan, yung mga farmers natin. There were reports po kasi before na hindi pa po sila naabutan ng ibang tulong, especially dun sa mga malalayong lugar. Any updates on that?
Sa El Nino ay more than 9.2 billion na yung naipamahagi ng ating kagawaran. At bukod pa rito yung naipamahagi rin ng Office of the President. Of course, nag-iikot ang ating Pangulo. Nagbabahagi siya yung tinatawag natin na Presidential Assistance on El Nino affected families, farmers and fishers. At nakaikot na siya sa 8 rehiyon sa buong bansa at nagbabahagi ng 10,000 sa bawat apektadong pamilya. Kabilang na rin doon sa pinamahagi ng Department of Agriculture yung ating mga water management interventions, yung mga pautang natin sa ECPC at yung ating mga ayuda na 5,000 piso bukod din sa Pangulo na Rice Farmers Financial Assistance. So tuloy-tuloy itong ating pag-ikot. Of course, katuwang din natin dito yung DSWD, yung DOLE at iba pang mga lokal na pamahalaan. So yung naging damage is about 9 billion. Yung naipamahagi natin is about 9.2 billion as of the moment.
Alright, on that note, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. That's TA Assistant Secretary Arnel de Mesa.
Maraming salamat din po. Mabuhay kayo at magandang umaga.
Thank you so much. Alright, dito naman tayo. Let's continue with our countdown. Moving over now to our top 5, all Filipino crew on board another ship attacked by Houthi rebels in the Red Sea are safe. Migrant Worker Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak says they are now working on the repatriation of seafarers. Houthi said its forces had attacked the bulk carrier but did not say when the attacks took place. According to the DMW, Transworld Navigator was attacked in the Gulf of Aden on its way to a port in Africa. I don't have the details kung ilan eh.
Hindi, pero sunod-sunod na yung attack.
Oo.
So sana yung plan nila to review whether to allow na rin totally or allow to ban yung seafarers natin from joining a ship or a cruise ship or a container ship that will ply these routes, di ba? Kasi
Kasi for context, merong kasing consent
prior to this,
sale.
consent to sale. Ang problema nito, if something happens to them, of course, resources din ng government natin ang tinatamaan by, of course, we have to rescue our mga kababayan. So, it ends up, mas malaki ang ginagastos, di ba? So, baka pwedeng pag-aralan ng temporary banning o...
Actually, na sinabi ni
Hans Leo, that's why we're saying na sana mabigyan ng pansin kaagad dito because as of the moment, yung mga kababayan natin, they continue to ply these routes with consent to sail kasi nagkakaroon sila ng higher pay. Pero may waiver silang pinipirma.
Yun sa consent to sail yan dun sa mga dangerous na ruta. Diba tulad nga itong sa may Red Sea kung saan marami talagang incidents na inaatake sa
Gulf of Aden.
Na kung saan talaga inaatake ng mga Houthi rebels. And itong mga Houthi rebels na to ay may mga ang layunin nila is supposedly to condemn yung nangyayari sa Gaza, 'di ba? Against sa Palestinian. Pero yun nga, ang nadadamay naman ay yung wala namang kinalaman doon sa Gaza.
Yan sinasabi ng Amerika din na ang nadadamay sometimes Greek liners, 'di ba? You have New Zealand liners, hindi naman actually Israeli supply chain ang tinatamaan. Kasi ang goal supposedly nila is to disrupt the supply chain of Israel in and out of that area kasi may trade sila, 'di ba? For income and other supplies. Daming
As of
nadadamay.
now, wala pang official statement ulit ang DFA kasi at saka DMW
about that Filipino. Na sinabi ng
who was missing.
ang sinabi ng US
Kinonfirm ng US
na patay na nga. Pero sinasabi natin we're still hoping na mahanap pa natin ang buhay. Okay, let's move on. On our fourth spot, the National Privacy Commission says Jollibee data breach may have affected 11 million customers. According to the NPC, sensitive personal information, including dates of birth and ID numbers of seniors, have been compromised. Other impacted brands include Mang Inasal, Red Ribbon, and Chowking, among others. The NPC says Jollibee Foods Corporation has requested 20 more days to complete its internal investigation.
Kasi ang malaki-laki yan, 11 million na
customers,
users.
At saka kasi third party ang namamahala sa data gathering
nila. Nila third party liability.
Sa cloud. Pero ang liability kasi in-explain ng NPC yan. It still falls on sino yung nag-contract, Jollibee. And then kung gusto ng Jollibee, demanda nila yung third-party service provider nila. Di ba? Ganun lang
yung third-party service provider nila, sila yung may hawak ng yung cloud. Kung saan nakuha yung data. Yung data link
ang may hawak ng cloud is Jollibee, but the owner is a third-party service provider and sila nag-manage, sila ang nag-maintain ng cloud. Pero ang access sa cloud is from the Jollibee side because repository yun ng mga information of all transactions not necessarily online also, di ba? Kasi nandun yung senior number na nagamit, transactions, mga binili mo, pangalan mo, possibly address, di ba? So titignan pa nila anong other info ang nakalagay doon sa cloud, sa repository of data.
20 more days. Actually, it happened daw, di ba parang mga around May pa. Tapos nalaman na lang nila through the posting of Deep Web Connect.
Yeah, na nagbebenta lang pala ng info.
Oh, hindi sila ha, meron daw. Oo. Pero yun
mga
nga,
online pirates ang tinatawag nila.
Meron din pang ibang impormasyon that we have yet to confirm or clarify. Yung sinasabi nila that the hacking incident was also done via the delivery app. So, yun ang hindi pa natin ma-confirm. Pero may mga usap-usapan na ganun. Kasi doon naman sa via delivery app na yun, meron ka ring mga information doon na sensitive. Hindi lang mga name, etc. But also, yung information ng card mo, debit or credit card.
Pero yung tinamaan kasi sa cloud mismo daw.
Yes,
So they don't have any, at this moment, have any
No
reason to believe
confirmation.
na it could be the delivery app. Because the delivery app has their own third-party service provider. So those are separate providers. So they have to take a look hanggang saan nag-reach ang lawak nitong
hacking incident na to. And you have to remember, a few weeks or few days before this hacking incident sa Jollibee Food Corporation, there were also hacking incident sa iba pang malalaking kumpanya. You have Toyota, you have Robinsons, and you have yung HMO, di ba? Yung MaxiCare.
Yan.
Okay. Napakadami talaga nating pinag-uusapan dito, pero we have to continue with our countdown. Still hot at the third spot is the latest POGO saga. The Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission of PAOCC called suspended Bamban-Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo a primary enabler of illegal POGOs. Now, PAOCC spokesperson Winston Castro said they discovered digital footprints establishing Guo's connection to scam hubs in Bamban and in Porac, Pampanga. The agency is now preparing their evidence against Guo. They are also planning to file additional charges against the suspended mayor before the Justice Department next week.
Lumalabas ito si Mayora ay isang primary enabler. Her participation in Baofu is quite clear. Once na buo na natin yung ebidensya sapat para may sampa ang mga karagdagang kaso, ay may sasampa na po natin ito sa DOJ Main.
Don't go away.
Ay, hindi ba natin pag-uusapan yan?
Joke lang.
Pag-usapan muna natin saglit itong connection nga supposedly ni Mayor Alice, suspended Mayor Alice Guo dito sa mga malalaking POGO hub, both in Pampanga and in Tarlac. Yung Tarlac, yung nauna kasi na-raid, diba? So,
kasi initially, when they raided it separately, sabi ni ng PAOCC, the information parang that they got for these Porac raids also may have nanggaling sa pag-raid nila sa Bamban-Tarlac because may mga certain link na tinitignan, possible link na tinitignan nila. They have to establish it further pa.
Exactly. And they have sufficient evidence. Sabi nga ni spokesperson ng PAOCC, si Winston Castro. Sabi niya meron silang enough evidence pero hindi pa nila ma-divulge today kasi they're still, processing it.
No, kasi tsaka very sensitive to until they act on it. They want to keep it quiet.
Totoo. Kasi marami din mga biglang sumusulpot ng mga pangalan.
Tsaka nagka-issue rin sila. Remember, nag-apply pa lang sila ng warrant. Remember? Yung judge, biglang na-deny sila.
Yes. Tapos there were leaks supposedly kasi nakita nila nung pagdating nila dun sa raid, may mga umaalis na.
So they're very careful now.
ng raid na ginawa nila. So ang sinabi nga ni Senator Win Gatchalian dito, and I quote, "My first impression is that we have seen that this is the most brutal, violent, and largest hub that we have ever been to, yung sa Porac, Pampanga. The evidence is really strong that there was torture, prostitution, and they found a passport." So ang tinitingnan din natin dyan, meron bang mga malalaking personalidad na connected din dito, hindi lamang si
And possible 50 plus deaths, di ba, ang tinitignan nila dito. based sa mga videos, based sa mga testimony, but
And
they're
they were-
verifying reports
Yes,
pa.
yung mga possible deaths na yan, mga foreign-looking din.
Oo.
Kasi I remember when we interviewed yung former director ng Pampanga Chamber of Commerce, sinabi nga niya, hindi daw nare-report na mga nakikita mga bangkay, minsan putol
Kasi they
pa,
have
etc.
kasi they have their own crematorium.
Oo,
They
that's
cremate
why-
right away.
Hindi, ito, mga nakikita nila, hindi nila nakikita daw, may mga sa ibang lugar dyan sa Pampanga, makikita nila may patay, pugot ang ulo. May mga ganong insidente na hindi nga natin alam eh. 'Di ba? Kung hindi lang na tong pogo na to,
Baka hindi nila na-link
malalaman.
pa at that
That's
time.
why yung parang regional officer, if I'm not mistaken, I have yet to check the details on that, na kaya suspended muna. Kasi yung regional office ng PNP, no? Because nga, may mga crimes na nangyayari na hindi nare-report din. So, yun ang titignan din nila. So, malaki talaga, lumalawak itong nangyayari dito sa Pogo Hub na to, and who knows kung sino pa ang kasabot dito. That's why yung ibang mga mayors and other local officials, ang sinasabi nila, sinasabi ni Senator Win Gatchalian, ipasuspend na rin because mayor ka eh, hindi mo alam, ganyang kalaki yung Pogo sa town mo, hindi mo alam ganyan na nangyayari. Well, anyway, marami pang detalye dun eh. Okay.
Okay na.
Okay na.
Hindi na
Don't
masama
go
loob mo.
away because we're not done yet. Ilan pa?
Dalawa pa.
Dalawa pa.
Welcome back. You're still watching Brunch here on One News. Magandang umaga po sa isang mabutihing kaibigan, si Carlo Kasing-Kasing.
May pa-shoutout siya dito.
Pa-shoutout daw.
Oo. Advance happy birthday.
Sino ba may birthday?
Ewan ko dyan. Si Gary Field, ang dami
si
niya
Gary
mga
Field.
sinasabi
Oo,
dito.
dami siyang comment.
Gusto niyang sumali talaga
Pero
sa
ito yung si
discussion.
Carlo, magaling magluto na yan ng sinampalukan ba yan o sinigang o kare-kare?
Sinigang na Satanas.
Wala akong alam dyan sa sinasabi mo. Pero madami pa tayong pag-uusapan. Let's go straight to our top 2. On our second spot, former Senator Laila de Lima has now been cleared of all the drug charges filed against her. A Muntinlupa court granted de Lima's demurrer. Paano ba yan, Angel? Demurrer to evidence on her third and last drug case. This means that the prosecution did not have sufficient evidence in the case which warranted a dismissal. De Lima was previously jailed for 6 years over cases filed during the presidency of former President Rodrigo Duterte.
Ang message ko sa dating Pangulo, kay Ginoong Duterte, kayo ngayon ang mananagot sa mga kasalanan niyo sa taong bayan. Isa lang po akong biktima. Libo-libo mga Pilipino ang pinaslang nila nung nakaraang madugo at peking war on drugs.
The Justice Department says they will study if they will file for a motion for reconsideration.
We are also very happy for the good senator because once upon a time, she was our former boss. And we do not lose our respect even though we are on the other side of the fence. Okay. But it's our duty to prosecute.
Magpa-file daw sila. They are considering, itong prosecutor, they are considering to file a motion for reconsideration on this decision. So itong yung demurrer, 'di ba, is tantamount to acquittal. So that means, 'di ba, kumbaga vindicated nga itong si former Senator Laila de Lima.
Sabi nga nila, 'di ba, nothing is scarier than a scorned woman out for vengeance.
Parang ramdam ko dun sa
woman
interview
out for vengeance,
ni Senator
nakakatakot.
Laila de Lima na parang she's happy but at the same time, she's ready to go after dun sa mga nag-prosecute sa
Ang dami kasing
That's what
pinagdaanan
I felt eh.
ni former Secretary de Lima and Senator
6
de Lima.
years.
Madami siyang pinagdaanan aside from being wrongfully based sa courts na being wrongfully convicted or not even convicted, being wrongfully detained. Meron din siya, remember that hostage-taking incident?
Yes.
That she was in that jail cell and na-meet pa niya yung hostage, di ba? So madami siyang pinagdaanan na trauma, and kaya when they spoke to some of her allies, she's not even thinking about politics yet because she wants time to heal, which is given because
It's understandable.
you have to touch base with all the people na wala sa buhay mo this last how many 6 7
6 years.
6 years, di ba? And then you have to personally think, politics got me into these problems. Gusto ko pa ba tumakbo ulit?
Actually.
But let's wait and see kung ano yung mga decisions niya.
Oo,
But
hopefully-
definitely, based sa statements niya, galit siya sa isang tao.
Exactly. But hopefully nga, ay makausap din natin si former Senator
When
Laila
she's
de
ready.
Lima when she's ready. Kasi as of now, hindi pa daw siya nagbibigay ng interviews.
Kaya, madam, take your time to heal.
Yes. Okay. Sige, let's continue with our countdown. Remaining in the top spot is the tension in the West Philippine Sea. After saying recent incident with China was a misunderstanding or an accident, the Marcos administration changed its stance and called it an aggressive use of force. Here's the report.
Videos from the armed forces of the Philippines show that CCG rammed their vessels against our rubber boats. They also punctured our boats, stole our weapons, and threw tear gas to our troops. Still, the Marcos administration initially downplayed the incident.
Well, this was probably a misunderstanding or an accident. We are not yet ready to classify this as an armed attack.
But after an investigation into the incident, the Marcos administration retracted its initial statement and declared the incident as an aggressive use of force.
It was not a misunderstanding or an accident. It was an aggressive and illegal use of force. It is a deliberate act of the Chinese officialdom to prevent us from completing our mission.
When asked about the change of tone about the incident, Defense Secretary Guo said this.
That was a preliminary assessment at the time, but after the trip of the President to Palawan, nag-firm up na yung conclusion na talagang deliberate incident.
Still, National Security Advisor Eduardo Año insisted that the incident can't be considered as an armed attack. This means that we can't use our mutual defense treaty with the U.S. yet. The palace also decided to withdraw its initial plans of publicity announcing the schedule of our resupply mission to BRP Sierra Madre. Security experts said it is understandable why the administration was changing their position regarding the incident.
Kasi mahirap na makipagsabayan sa init ng ulo ng China. I think this time around, they were able to see the bigger picture of it. Dito makikita natin na ganun talaga yung laro pagdating sa diplomasya. Minsan, hindi diretsuhan yung salita. We could see na very complex din yung sagot.
In an interview with Storycon, international studies expert Professor Renato de Castro described the recent statements as very powerful.
Very powerful, magnificent. There's no more element of panic. Rather, we see more of efforts to balance. And of course, we see a powerful degree of resolve, element of resolve. The one last Friday is really more of a recommendatory. So, of course, now we see the answer.
The Department of Foreign Affairs will also set a meeting with Chinese Ambassador to the Philippines, Wang Shilian. For the meantime, the DFA will continue pursuing bilateral mechanism between the Philippines and China. For News 5, Maricel Halili, We Are One News.
Nako, malaking tawag dito, press con yan yesterday na ginawa nga ni DFA Secretary Guo
To clarify from the initial Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin saying accident siya, he clarified na hindi nga ito accident, but that was initial assessment. Pero after thoroughly si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos was talking to several of the soldiers, diba, they came to a conclusion, supposedly, na hindi nga ito accident, but rather this was an aggressive confrontation from definitely not an accident kung may napuputulan ng daliri at napapuncture pa ang ribs natin.
Kaya nga di ba sabi ni DFA Secretary Guo Chodoro, we would also like
DND.
DFA.
Guo Chodoro? Department of National Defense.
National Defense. We would also like to categorically say that our policy on the West Philippine Sea has not changed. And yun nga, to be fair naman, ang sinasabi naman kasi ni Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin din, yung regarding dun sa issue na magpapaalam or ipapaalam na magkakaroon ng mga RORI mission, ay recommendation lamang yon ng Maritime Council, PH Maritime Council. But yun nga, upon their discussion, yun hindi na yung matutuloy. Diba? Ang tanong na lang dyan, will they still invite media sa mga RORI mission sila? That's a question.
Ayun ko, dami pang pag-usapan. But tomorrow, we have...
wala na naman tayong oras.
Madami pa tayong pag-usapan tomorrow.
Pag-usapan to ng mas mahaba.
And thank you pala sa lahat ng viewers natin for joining us today. Since we're medyo out of time, bawi po ako tomorrow sa ating quote for the day.
Wala ka lang hinanda
And for that...
wala ka lang hinanda, no? Laglagan.
Kala ko it's always protect your own, but apparently this is China and Philippines within a show.
So ako si China?
Yes.
Ay, nako.
Mukha ba akong China?
Abangan na sa susunod na kabanata. Tomorrow to be continued yung ating usapan tungkol sa China. But for the meantime...
That wraps up today's episode of Brunch.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angela Lagunzad-Castro. And he is Angelo Castro III. We are One News, all sides, all the time.